Okay, so I started this project and realized maybe I should film it. So what we're doing, changing the oil in the K66L transmission, hydrostatic transmission in the Simplicity Conquest. So it's a Tuff Torq K66. As you can see, I already have the seat deck off and the gas tank. So actually quite simple to take the seat deck off. There's a bolt there and a bolt hole there. And if you move the seat all the way forward, you should be able to access it. Otherwise, take the whole seat off. But I was able to move it all the way forward and get to those bolts. And then there's these two, a nut and a bolt. The nut's in the bottom. So two there, two on the other side. And you take the arm off of the cruise control. It's a star. I don't know what size star it is, but it's a little star bit. Unscrew that and it lifts right off. And the gas tank cap comes off, and then you lift it off. It comes right off, not a problem. So that's that. And then the gas tank, there's the oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one other thing. The seat switch right there, you need to take that off from underneath the seat. So just pry, get a screwdriver underneath this part, pry that up a little bit, and that should slide off of the connection. So then you get to the gas tank and you have these two leads for the gas gauge. Make sure you take a picture so you know which way they go to put them back on. And then the gas gauge, the gas tank sits under this. So you want to just loosen these two bolts so you can lift it up a little bit and get the gas line, because the gas line slides underneath here. And here it sits now. And so does this harness. It goes through here as well. It goes up underneath, so it's kind of trapped by the tank when this is bolted down. So I think that covers that. What else? So I think that's it for the gas tank, and then you have right there, there's a nut that you need to pop off from on top of the fan and the pulley on top of the transmission. And that, I believe, is a 9/16, and I used impact gun, electric impact, to pop that off. And then you have this overflow container. And so there's a nut that goes here to kind of hold it in place. So it goes right, that's the nut that goes there, and then there's the access hole for filling the transmission, filling the one side. And then there's the other one. That's the other one. Right there. So that fills the other side. I guess that's the gear side, and this is the hydro side. And then I also took off the release lever here. So I put the pin back, but it was connected right there. All the way on the front, I believe it was connected. Just gives me better access because it kind of ran right through the middle there. So that's where I'm at. I drained the transmission as well. It's going to be a little bit tricky to get that picture here. See how well we can get this here. Not getting it real good here, am I? Okay. So I don't know if you can see the two holes, but basically both bolts, both drain bolts are bigger than the rest underneath there. I think they're a 1/2 inch. There they are right there. I think they're a 1/2 inch versus the rest were probably 7/16. So that's where we're at. It drained overnight, so I'm ready to fill it. According to the Tuff Torq website, it's 2.6 quarts of 5W50 synthetic. So that's what we're going to put back in it, and hopefully it works, because it was not climbing hills after it got hot, and so I tested it out myself about a 1/2 hour or so, driving around the yard. My yard's pretty flat, but I got a few ditches, so I was going up and down the ditches, and then finally would start to just kind of go into the ditch and then stop and then try and go slowly up it, and that's when it would not go up it. And then if you then tried to go full blast, it would just not do anything. You'd have to back down and then re-go up again real fast, and then it would make it. But I pulled it back in after that and felt the bottom of the transmission, and it was pretty darn warm. So clearly it's overheating. The oil level was fine, so I'm hoping this does the trick. Otherwise, transmission is done. Could be rebuilt, I suppose, but I don't believe I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and fill it up and take a little video along the way here. Okay, so I have the oil back in. What I can tell you is this side, hydro side, really only takes 1 quart, because as you can see, when I started to put the little bit of the 2nd quart in, it overflowed. So on this side took, the gear side took, you know, 1 1/4, I suppose, something like that. So Well, that's where we're at now. I gotta put the little lid on that thing. I guess I gotta put in a little bit in there. It's supposed to be about 4/16 from the bottom, 7/16 from the bottom in the little overflow. So that's where we're at. Okay, so I'm ready for the gas tank, I guess. I got the release rod back in there. Right there. And the fan and pulley back on. There's a 5/8 nut. And the belt is back in position. The fuel line right here, ready to go on top of the gas tank. And then the seat switch right there, and the electrics right there. Okay, so the gas tank is in. Fuel line hooked up. The power, the white goes on in the middle, and this one goes here. As you can see, it was broke off in the process, so I gotta fix that, and I'll do that. And here's the seat switch. And so I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm going to take these two bolts off to raise this up a little bit. So again, you can get that fuel line out from underneath it and that out from underneath it. So remove those two. I'm going to put those back in. The other thing is you can see how the gas tank is guided in and set right here. And there's a zip tie here to hold that down. So put that back through. So we're in good shape. Moving along. Alright, she's all buttoned up. Almost. So the biggest thing to remember when you're putting the seat deck back on is this needs to be off. And once you get into place, well, once you get it close, you need to get the wire through this hole. So I put it on first all the way on. Didn't bolt anything down, but I had it all the way in place. And realized I need to pull that out, so I had to pull it back up, get a hold of it, and run it through that hole. And then you can put it back on. So I got those two bolts in. I don't have the two on this side down there or the two on the other side on yet. I want to try it out, so we'll try it out and see how it goes. Okay, so it's the next day and I'm ready to test this out. So let's see. True test is when I can actually get it heated up. Just checking underneath there to see if there's any leaks. Other than the overflow that I did last night. Looking good. I want to see if I can't see that reservoir, and I can't. But I'll report back if it doesn't work. But I guess maybe I never did discuss the problem, which was, after about half an hour or so, it would not go up hills. So hoping this clears up the problem. So that's it for now until I test her out. Well, I gave it 2 good tests. The first one, successful, just riding around, going up and down the ditch. Probably 15 minutes or so, and worked fine. Second test, I got out and cut the backyard, and then went around the front yard to the front ditches, and as you can see, I was in the ditch pretty good, and got it nice and hot, just kind of backing down into the ditch and then going up real slow and then going fast and slow and back and forth, and everything was good. Everything was real good, so no problems. I came back in, felt the transmission. It was nice and warm, just like it was when I tested it prior to the oil change, where it failed. So it was warm. I'm going to assume it was the same degree of warmth because it felt pretty darn close. So yeah, so far so good. I think we're good with this. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know.